Hi guys, Greg here. Today then, the Wooded Kingdom and Steam Gardens. And to fit with this industrial sort of aesthetic we've got going on, we have a bit of a departure from the orchestral, more acoustic scores of the previous kingdoms. We're going to be talking about sampling, drum loops, and everyone's favourite, syncopations. So let's just strap in and get going. A big part of this industrial sound of Steam Gardens is down to the loop that is used to the drum track. If I take a short recording of a track that I think is really cool, we call it a sample. And samples are usually played around with on a computer, changing pitch, the speed of it, or manipulated with more extensive effects. Samples are very popular in hip hop or by artists like Daft Punk, and a sample often forms the basis of an entire track.
From 2 planets away, I got my
If I take a sample that's designed to be sort of repeated over and over and over, it's called a loop. So normally, for the most part, if I was recording drums for a track, I'd do it in one continuous long take. This makes sure that it sounds sort of natural, like if they're playing with other musicians, they can sort of react to what's going on around them. However, if I was to use a drum loop, I'm taking a very small chunk, usually sort of 1 to 8 bars worth of what they play, and I'm repeating that over and over and over and over again. The main way you can identify if a loop is being used from one of the instruments on a track is that it will sound exactly the same. Drummers, for instance, tend to be very metronomic people, but even in the most consistent drummer, you'll find some variation in their playing. The drum loop that is used for Steam Gardens is actually very similar to the most sampled drum track of all time, which has become known as the Amen break. Amen because the sample is originally taken from the track Amen Brother, and break is a term used to name a bit in a piece of music where the majority of the instruments aren't playing, leaving one instrument for a killer solo. Recognise any of these? The robotic, repetitive nature of the drum track in Steam Gardens aids the mechanical theme of this kingdom and keeps the piece driving along. Another feature that keeps the piece ploughing on is the use of syncopation in some of the horn and guitar parts. Horns, by the way, is just a collective term that's used to describe trumpets, trombones, or like usually saxophones. And syncopation refers to something playing off beat. So, this is my beat. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I talk like this, I'm on the beat. You get the example. And if I was off beat, I'm making sound. Crikey, chill out, Greg. So if I'm off beat, I would be talking in between the beats, and you get the idea, I guess, I hope. So if we then have a passage of, say, a melody or an accompaniment, and it's emphasized on the off beats rather than the on beats, we'd call that as being syncopated. And syncopation is the backbone of all dance music. So that last example was kind of lame because it was literally just one note that was syncopated. But it does lead me on to an important point in that the reason why that sounded extra kind of pushed or syncopated is that it lands just before the strongest beat of the bar, which is beat 1. After covering time signatures in my last video, watch that here, you're all familiar with how bars of music are divided up into beats. Now, not all beats are created equal. In all time signatures, 1 is going to be the strongest. In 4/4, the 4 beats will be heard as 2 halves, so the first beat is strong and the third beat is strong. In time signatures like 3/4, where we have 3 beats in a bar, it's a little vaguer. 1 is strong, but 2 and 3 are going to be weak. Steam Gardens then is full of syncopated punches from the horns and guitar. In the intro, we get this little passage from the trumpets. Especially in that second bar, the 2 final notes are both played in the spaces between beats 2 and 3 and beats 3 and 4. When the guitar comes in for the main melody, we hear some more syncopation going on. This is further accentuated because the guitar is accented on the syncopated pitches. If you were reading music then, an accent looks like a sideways V, and this just tells the musician to put extra emphasis on that pitch. We've got some final notable syncopation at the end of the guitar melody. If you're wondering why this guitar sounds particularly expressive, by the way, anyone that's ever played Guitar Hero will remember cranking out all those star points by pushing down that little lever repeatedly. That's called a whammy bar. And a whammy bar adds vibrato to a guitar pitch. Vibrato is a regular pulsating change in pitch, most obvious in the voices of opera singers or Hugh Jackman in Les Mis. Love you, Hugh. And vibrato is used to add expression to vocal and instrumental lines. One final thing I think adds to the driving intensity of Steam Gardens comes with playing around with harmonic rhythm. We spent the majority of this video talking about rhythm, which concerns where sounds are placed in time. Pitch is like the other side of the equation and determines how high or low the sounds that are being placed are. Harmonic rhythm then kind of brings these two worlds together, and I think it's a particularly useful thing to think about when writing music. All songs consist of chord changes which provide a harmonic framework for a piece. How often those chords change is the speed of what we call the harmonic rhythm of the piece. And you can play with the intensity of your music by speeding up or slowing down the harmonic rhythm. A great example of this comes from everyone's favourite air hostess, Britney. In Toxic, the verse of the song hangs around the 1 chord for 6 of the 8 bars. The only variety in the verse comes when we move briefly to a 3 chord and a 5 chord. However, to crank up the intensity and provide a memorable earworm, the harmonic rhythm of the piece dramatically increases in the chorus. The chords now change at least each bar, and we hear 6 unique chords over the course of the 8 bars. Another good example of this comes in I Want You Back from the Jackson 5. The verse starts off with 2 bars, each with their own chord, and then immediately speeds up its harmonic rhythm with a quick succession of chords, nearly 1 for each beat, with a little bit of syncopation as well. Steam Gardens plays with this exact same idea. In the verse we have a fairly slow harmonic rhythm with the chords changing every couple of bars or so. Then in what I'll call the pre-chorus, the harmonic rhythm speeds up a little with the chords changing every bar. And then, upon arriving at the chorus, we have 3 chords in syncopated rhythm in the first bar. By gradually cranking up the harmonic rhythm of the music, using syncopated rhythms and careful selection of a driving drum loop, Steam Gardens is a bit of a departure from the more orchestral sounds we've heard thus far, but it's an exciting one, and launches Mario into an industrial, modern sound. There we go, so that was a brief introduction to rhythm and syncopation, and I hope you can add that to your music. As always, if you enjoyed what you watched today, please subscribe and comment down below. Smash the thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't enjoy today. Let me know if there's a particular music track from a video game or otherwise that you particularly enjoy and want me to pick apart. I can give it a go. And that's all for now. I will see you next week. Bye for now.